Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Seattle Public Library's University Branch. I'm Tom Fay, Chief Librarian of the Seattle Public Library. Joining us today, City of Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell, FEMA Deputy Administrator Victoria Salinas, FEMA Region 10 Administrator Willie Nun, Washington Emergency Management Director Robert Iselle, and Seattle Office of Emergency Management Director Curry Mayer. We are together today to announce a truly historic investment in Seattle's landmark Carnegie libraries and in our city's climate resiliency. I'm very pleased to share that FEMA, through its Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, has awarded $5.5 million towards a $6.1 million project to modernize cooling and clean air systems at the University Branch Library you see behind me, as well as Columbia, Fremont, Queen Anne, and West Seattle. For those who have lived in Seattle for some time, we know the impacts of climate change, and they are becoming more frequent and more pronounced. We have seen the public health threats climate change can pose to our region. We have faced these threats, and libraries have increasingly played a more important role. One of our top priorities at the library in my time as the Chief Librarian has been to install air conditioning and more efficient ventilation systems at each of our 27 locations. Our work in this area has increased the number of publicly available cooling centers during extreme heat and clean air centers during wildfire smoke events. Thanks to FEMA's funding, we will be able to ensure all Seattle libraries, including our Carnegie libraries that have served the city for over 100 years, can serve in this increasingly pivotal role for future generations. These 5 libraries are the last remaining libraries in Seattle without air conditioning. We're extremely grateful for this funding so that we can complete our modernization efforts. As public spaces open to all, libraries make our communities more resilient to the impacts of climate change, especially for our most vulnerable neighbors. With every new HVAC system we install, we are reducing the library's carbon footprint by replacing fossil fuel-powered systems. We're helping Seattle meet its decarbonization goals, and we are providing respite from heat waves and wildfire smoke events. In recent years, we've made great progress in this work. With generous funding from Mayor Harrell and the Seattle City Council, we installed new HVAC systems for Northeast and Southwest branches, 2 of our busiest locations. The Green Lake branch, which will reopen from its seismic retrofit in coming weeks, will also feature a new HVAC system. At the University branch, we will begin this work in early 2025 when the branch will close for a seismic retrofit and other renovations. The Columbia branch will be next in line, and we are working on a timeline now for Fremont, Queen Anne, and West Seattle. I want to thank the library's Administrative Services Director, Rob Gannon, Capital Improvement Project Director, Dennis Redinger, and Communications Specialist, Bennett Barr, for their work in securing this grant. I also want to thank Washington State for contributing an additional $300,000 toward this effort, and our partners at the Washington State Emergency Management Division for their support. FEMA District 10, for all of their help along the way, thank you. Erica Lund from the city's Office of Emergency Management, whose expert guidance throughout the grant process was invaluable. And also, a big thanks to Mayor Harrell for his vision, leadership, and constant support of the library. Public investments like this are only possible when agencies work together. In this effort, it was one Seattle and beyond, all the way to the finish line. And now, I'd like to introduce Seattle's Mayor, Bruce Harrell.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. So I want to make something very clear in case someone looks at this months from now or years from now. Today is August 20th, 2024, and I want to make that clear in case they see why they ask, why are there rain jackets and why are we under a tent when we announce this. It's August 20th, and that's why we are excited to celebrate this news. For us, it's all about partnership. So I need to first, of course, thank the leadership at FEMA, what FEMA does for a city like ours, our senators, Murray and Cantwell, our congressmen, Congress members Jayapal and Smith, our state delegation for stepping up, our Washington Emergency Management, and of course our home here at University Branch Library. It should not be lost upon us that a few years ago when I took office that we had President Biden sign an executive order on Earth Day here in the city of Seattle. And it should not be lost on us that we're standing, in addition to a library, right next to the University Food Bank. Because our city will only be great if we look at those who are most unfortunate and how we can protect those who are less fortunate, those who need resiliency hubs in order to protect themselves, their health, and their welfare from what we're dealing with. Climate change is real, climate change is here, and it has a real and serious impact on our community. I would like to enter a quote that our Governor Jay Inslee made, which I thought is quite supportive of what we're trying to do. I've said publicly that we have the greenest governor in all of our 50 states, and I'm very proud of that. Governor Jay Inslee said, "We are the first generation to feel the effect of climate change and the last generation who can do something about it." So I sort of want to do a level set with that quote by talking about how our libraries, I think many of you know my mother worked most of her career in a library, and we've always sort of historically thought of it as just a place to learn and educate yourself and to fellowship and enhance our experience around books. But now we have to look at these key assets as part of our resiliency strategy, and now that we have over 20 of them acting as cooling and cleaning air shelters during our weather events, that we have to look at all of our assets and sort of combining them in a strategic way. I want to thank our director, Justin Farrell, and the work that she does at our Sustainability and Environment Department. It is under her leadership, again, that we're able to pull this together throughout our citywide assets. And it's a great strategy. We're trying to reduce emissions and improve sustainability in everything that we do, preparing for the impacts of climate change. In addition to expanding capacity in cities' facilities like libraries, we are working with partners to plan for resiliency hubs to transform community-owned spaces as well. So this is, again, part of our robust strategy when we're looking at heat and smoke events. Quite honestly, I think you've heard many of us here in leadership positions that we've talked about climate change. We could only, that dog is happy. He's celebrating with us right there. See, that's music to my ears. That's a fan right there for climate change. He's saying climate change. We're defeating climate change. Climate change we will only defeat this, I use the analogy of locking fingers, partnerships, collaborative partnerships. We're in this together. This is a very unifying effort, and so this kind of unprecedented investment in addressing climate, the impacts of climate change is part and parcel of our strategy, again, to work with our federal government. And I want to close by saying thank you again, FEMA, for your commitment and your follow-through and your resources. We will put them to good work, and most importantly, it will be for those who really need it. And those, again, are underrepresented communities and people that will look for health protection from climate change in our resiliency hubs. So thank you very much, and we celebrate with a spirit of humility. Thank you. Let's introduce somebody. And next you will hear from the superstar, Victoria Salinas, and she will speak. The superstar. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good morning, or good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to be with you all here today to celebrate this important milestone. I oversee FEMA resilience at the national scale, and oftentimes when people think about FEMA, what comes to mind first is our response and recovery mission set. The images of communities devastated is what comes to mind. But for FEMA, resilience is also a core part of what we do. And we're actually now, as we said, in August, which is also National Resilience Month, and this is a year that our administrator has lifted up as the Year of Resilience. Why? Because we want to make sure that everyone understands how we want to be a partner and support in the resilience of all communities for all hazards. And so when I saw that this project was getting the big dollars to help with the libraries in Seattle, I was excited for a number of reasons. One is that we all remember the recent impacts of the heat dome and just the struggles that this community and so many others have faced because of extreme heat. We also recognize that wildfire smoke has continued to plague so many communities, and heat and wildfire smoke end up in a situation where opening the windows, doing things we used to do in the past, are no longer tenable. And so to see a project that was already tackling two hazards, heat and wildfire smoke, was already exciting. But what really drew my attention about this work going on here in Seattle, and that really gets to how we want to be a partner at FEMA, which is that we want to be part of your solutions, of your resilience solutions. And so when I walked in the door today to this library and saw the project scope, it was another reiteration of what that looks like. We are helping, through the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, address a couple of those hazards, right? Wildfire and heat. But the project is so much more. There's a seismic retrofit happening that we heard about to keep people safer when the big earthquake comes. There's changes to accessibility so that this can be a place of respite and learning for all. There's the recognition that in making sure that every action we take leads to decarbonization and a greener future. All of those things are part of what really are at the heart of resilience building. And this project brings that to life in beautiful ways, including, as the mayor mentioned, being nested next to other community assets like the food bank next door. And so that really is the future of resilience building that we see here at FEMA, is that when we're looking to be a partner to a community, it's for all of the hazards, all of those shocks and stresses. And the work underway in Seattle is emblematic of a city, a county, and a state who understand that deeply. And so for us, it's been a true partnership, a true pleasure to be a partner on that front and contribute to this major milestone. It's important for us to lift up all the ways in which these hazards can be tackled. Libraries are part of our front line when it comes to emergency response. They're the front lines as cooling options to help make sure that people can go where they want to be when their home is no longer warm, is too warm. And we're seeing cities in particular take so many new ways to tackle this. In the last couple years alone, from a project like this to covered bus shelters in Washington, D.C., to more tree canopy in Portland, Oregon, the innovation is coming from cities when it comes to how we actually tackle resilience building. So it's a true honor as the person that leads resilience for FEMA to be here at this critical milestone in this project and in your trajectory here in Seattle to celebrate the good work. We're here with you and really look forward to the continued work, collaboration, and to seeing these places serve their intended purpose so that every resident of Seattle, the county, and the nation can have the resilient community they all need and deserve. So thank you so much for having me today, and congratulations, Seattle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for inviting us and all the partners behind me. What a great day for Seattle. I am Willie Nun. I'm the FEMA Region 10 Administrator, which includes Seattle and the beautiful, diverse Pacific Northwest. I'm pleased to join you to celebrate today the new cooling centers at the public libraries here in Seattle. It has just learned from one of the speakers that this is organizing for the last five libraries here in Seattle. As we know, extreme heat is now a reality for our region, and air conditioning is becoming that necessity. Yet, many can't afford this. Many can't afford the air conditioning when they face the life-threatening conditions that extreme heat can bring. In the summer of 2021, there was a heat dome. And Seattle, statistics say that Seattle is the least air-conditioned city in the nation. That's why I'm so excited to be here, and that FEMA has the opportunity to award this grant, to equip these libraries to be an option, to be a cooling center. The FEMA, as it was said earlier, the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program funds are investment in community resilience. FEMA gives grants to communities not only to provide what we're doing here, but providing cooling options, not just centers, but cooling options, green infrastructure, and nature-based solutions. I want to applaud the state of Washington and Seattle for the foresight to use these grants for this great opportunity. Thank you, Mayor. And all of the partners behind me and all of you because we're all partners and relationships are very important, as the mayor says. And FEMA is proud to work with the state, proud to work with our tribal nations and the locals to make that projects like these come to create these options in extreme heat. And thank you all for putting people first and helping our communities stay safe in extreme heat. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to join you today. I'm Robert Iselle, Director of Washington State Emergency Management Division. Projects like this help me sleep a little better tonight, or at night. As Director of the State Office charged with protecting lives, property, and the economy of our state, it's heartening to see the most meaningful efforts to truly provide people, often our most vulnerable, with protection from extreme weather. As we saw in 2021 in Washington State, extreme heat can be deadly. Since then, we've had our mitigation team work with jurisdictions across the state to secure federal funds to address this growing threat. It's always a good day to see these efforts pay off. I want to extend my gratitude to the Seattle Public Library System for recognizing the need and not giving up on this grant opportunity. You've been an excellent partner, and our team enjoyed working with you to develop a convincing grant application. It's exciting to see a project like this move forward. This is the first federal award our state has received to support a cooling center, and I'm confident it will serve as a model to help us apply for future federal funding to support similar projects down the road. And my thanks to FEMA for allocating the funds necessary to bring this project to life. It's an honor to welcome Deputy Administrator Victoria Salinas to our beautiful state, and thank you for making the trip out here. While air conditioning seems like such a simple solution, it can be costly and require an awful lot of work. This federal funding ensures this vital work continues and provides people across the region with a refuge from extreme heat and wildfire smoke. We know with climate change, these threats are only increasing. In emergency management, we often say it's a team sport. Same goes for taking care of our communities. I'm proud to be surrounded by so many dedicated partners who share our commitment to the well-being of our residents. My congratulations to everyone involved, and my thanks for your partnership to help protect those who call Washington home.
Good afternoon. My name is Curry Mayer, and I currently serve the city as the director of Seattle's Office of Emergency Management. This project is really exciting for a lot of reasons. You've heard a lot about partnership, but there's really so much power in that. The partnership of city departments, working with our state partners at Washington EMD and also with FEMA was really why this became a reality. And I want to give special kudos to my team member, Erica Lund, who's the applicant agent. There's a huge amount of work that goes into being able to get a grant such as this, and we're very proud of that. It is one of the largest grants in the mitigation funding arena, so that's also exciting. So it not only is part of the city's immediate plan, the short-term goals for what do we do to mitigate both heat and smoke, but it's also part of a longer solution. So our short-term actions really focus on what can we do immediately, give people a place to go. And not only is this a place to go with air conditioning, but it's also a beautiful library, so people have something to do while they're escaping the heat. Some of those longer-term actions that we look at have to do with tree canopies, increasing green spaces. Those things take longer, so it's always exciting to see what can we do in the short term and what are the immediate things that will have impact on the community right away. It's also exciting because it's part of our reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. So it's my distinct privilege to be part of the city that really cares about helping people and the effects of climate change. And I appreciate you being here today to celebrate this with us.
some pictures? Or?
Absolutely.
If there are any, we're going to take some pictures, but if there are any questions for any of the speakers, we'll entertain one or two. And if not, we're going to take some cool pictures. And again, in closing, thank you very much. Thank you on behalf of the city. Thank you for this partnership. We really look forward to it. So we're all good? 3, 2, 1, Seattle. Thank you very much. Let's take a picture.